everybody. Welcome to KRON4's special honoring Black history, sharing our stories as we continue to celebrate Black History Month. I'm Pam Moore. Angela Davis, you may know her best for the iconic photographs of her perfect afro, but there is so much more to this activist, author, and educator. The Oakland Museum of California is hosting an exhibit on Davis. Her story is an American one with deep roots in California. The exhibit is called Seize the Time.
If we are serious about being advocates of freedom, we have to be willing to struggle. And I'm very happy that I've participated in movements that have done that.
Seize the Time adds a new level of understanding to the activism of Angela Davis. Lisa Silberstein is the museum project lead.
When you look at the content of this exhibition, you see that there are a lot of images of Angela, and we know her from her afro, her image as an icon, but I think we really want to peel back the layers on who she is as a person and not just as an icon.
A key to doing that is this 2019 museum interview with Davis. The museum felt hearing her perspective as she is now in her 70s gives visitors a deeper view of who she is, particularly as an important figure in Oakland.
Angela lives here in Oakland, has lived here for a long time. This is a reflection of Oakland and who Oakland is, and I think we really wanted in this exhibit to not only humanize Angela Davis, but have visitors understand that they could continue to connect with the social justice issues that Angela fights for.
I was once on the FBI's 10 most wanted lists and ended up spending time in jails in New York, in Marin County, and in San Jose. All of the existing powers, the president of the US, the governor of California, the head of the FBI, they were all arrayed against me.
Angela Davis grew up in an activist family in Jim Crow, Alabama. She grew politically in the turbulence of the 1960s. A member of the Communist Party in 1970, police said a San Rafael courtroom shooting was with guns registered to her. She went into hiding, was later arrested. That instigated a call for her freedom that exploded around the world.
So 95% of this collection is yours?
Yes.
Lisbeth Tellefson has a 40-year friendship with Davis and thousands of pieces chronicling her life. Author of the book by the same name, she is the exhibit archivist. Among the highlights, the relationship between art and activism.
This piece here from France illustrates that this was a global movement, you know, to free political prisoners, and that the eye of the world was on the U.S.
The exhibit links Davis's year-plus time in jail with informing her battle against mass incarceration and its connection to slavery. In 1972, ultimately, an all-white jury in Marin County finds her not guilty on all counts.
Could Black political activists get a fair trial in this country? Angela is one of the few wins. You know, we have to celebrate our victories.
This is the kind of exhibit where you will want to come and spend some quality time, not just for what's on the wall, but also for the scores of documents and articles and photographs that will make you want to linger and absorb and maybe even drum up some of your own memories.
Such as videos of the era, including the court case. A surprise discovery by Bay Area TV host and comic Kamau Bell.
My dad, Walter A. Bell, who's credited here, took this photo of Angela Davis.
And a speech reenactment by Oakland activist Cat Brooks.
She's an extraordinary role model. I think her life is extremely important, not only for what she's done, but what she continues to do and what she represents as a model for future activists.
And I think it's our job to do the work today that is not so much going to achieve the final goals that we might be imagining, but that will keep those goals alive.
The exhibit runs until June the 11th. Davis continues as a distinguished professor emerita at UC Santa Cruz. Local black firefighters inspiring children to aim high, how they are paying tribute to the trailblazers who came before them. African-American firefighters and their achievements highlighted during a recent presentation in Emeryville. The program, Chief is My Belief, sets to motivate young people to push for the best of themselves and show that becoming a fire chief is possible for all races, shapes, and sizes. And as KRON4's Philippe Jagal reports, that would not be the case without the black trailblazers who light the path.
Give it up to yourselves, young chiefs.
Bright-eyed youngsters standing face-to-face with our heroes who look like them.
Appreciate your hard work.
Distinguished African-American firefighters with more than a collective century's worth of experience keeping us safe in the Bay Area convene to inspire youth to dream big.
Chief. Chief.
Following 2 years of pandemic protocols, back in person, the 10th annual Chief is My Belief program returning to Anna Yates Elementary School in Emeryville during Black History Month.
The meaning behind Chief is My Belief is just to let people know that you can do whatever you want in life. No matter if you want to be a firefighter, a police officer, a doctor, a lawyer, a sheriff, just believe in your dreams and you will get there.
Alameda County Fire Department Division Chief Randall West produces and hosts the hour-long video presentation and assembly documenting the countless contributions African Americans have made in the fire industry.
We can't forget who came before us, those who are with us, and those who are after us.
Current and former fire chiefs highlighted in the all-star lineup and gifted portraits for their service.
He has been an inspirational leader and left a proud legacy. Let's welcome retired Fire Chief Robert Demmons.
Overcoming overt acts of hate in firehouses and at fire scenes, the late Earl Gage Jr. was the first black firefighter for the San Francisco Fire Department, and continuing to blaze the trail, Robert Demmons. He's retired now, but from 1996 to 2000, served as the first black fire chief in the city.
Unfortunately, in San Francisco, we haven't have any other black fire chiefs yet other than me. I look forward to the day that we do.
Just a few more years.
Alameda County Fire Chief Willie McDonald among the dignitaries. He was the first black chief for the Foster City, San Mateo, and Fremont fire departments.
I was raised to believe that we could achieve. My parents were very supportive and very encouraging in my childhood, and my entire family has been that way. And so it was something that I strove for and wanted to achieve and felt that I could.
These leaders say the road to the top was not without bumps.
There were times when, particularly when I was president of the Black Firefighters, and there were threats made on my life.
Racism comes with the territory, and the job requires strength, determination, and a belief you belong as chief.
And I won't forget those who are behind me, because I was once in their shoes. So it's important that we lend our hand and don't forget the bridge that brought you over.
Or the people who helped you cross. In Emeryville, Philippe Jagal, KRON4 News.
Coming up, we sit down with San Francisco's first black female mayor, London Breed.
What does Black History Month mean to you? Well, Black History Month means to me an opportunity to reflect, an opportunity to just be reminded of people who came before me.
A closer look at Mayor London Breed's life and her efforts to make a difference in San Francisco. That's coming up right after the break. Black history is then, and it is also now. San Francisco Mayor London Breed is currently serving as the city's first black female mayor. She sat down with KRON4's Noel Bello this month to share what drove her to public service and the impact she hopes to make on the city she has always called home.
Is there ever like a pinch me moment for you? Every day is a pinch me moment. because it's not something I thought was possible for someone like me.
A native San Franciscan raised by her grandmother in the city's Western Addition neighborhood, London Breed is no stranger to San Francisco and its challenges.
Growing up going to so many funerals of people that I was just hanging out with him, or we were just at this event together. People all around me were suffering, especially with gun violence and drugs and poverty. And I just thought, why me? Why us?
She would learn to turn those questions into action, seeking out ways to help her community. She started out small, working several odd jobs as she grew up.
I mean, I babysat, I cleaned houses, I did things to make a little bit of money. I ran errands for all the older ladies in the projects.
Then at 14, Breed was one of the lucky ones to get a spot in Mayor Willie Brown's Youth Employment and Training Program, where she learned even one or two small actions could create big change.
There was a stoplight in a location in my neighborhood where there was just, traffic would fly through. We would take our life in our hands every time we'd cross the street. And to make something happen like that as an intern, to put a stoplight in this intersection, that was amazing. To get a sidewalk that everyone would trip over, fall over, to get that fixed. I was like, there's a lot of power here. You could actually get some things done.
She would go on to work at the African American Art and Culture Complex, spending her days uplifting the youth, some of whom now work in her office. As the city's 45th mayor, Breed says her drive for public service comes from her own past of growing up in public housing.
So a lot of why I decided to do it is, why not me? Why not someone who's lived through really challenging times, who could help make or shape the kinds of policies that will hopefully lead to some lasting change.
And you feel you're on that path?
I feel like we're on that path, but I gotta tell you, it is hard every single day to just move the needle a little bit.
She says she's prepared for criticism, making sure her health and well-being is top of mind.
I can walk and chew gum at the same time. I take a lot of personal pride in showing up and being there, but I also think it is important to have a balance and to make sure that you don't get so consumed by the job that you don't take a moment to step away, because I think it makes you better.
Breed remains proud of her tenure so far, specifically her response to COVID-19.
We were able to get rid of the city bureaucracy and process and get down to doing what the people of San Francisco needed and deserved. I wish we could do that with everything.
She says bureaucratic layers make it difficult to address issues San Franciscans are concerned about, but it's not stopping her from trying.
Folks don't want to hear excuses, they want results. We provide so many resources around social services, around treatment on demand, our homeless outreach team, our ambassadors, our response teams and alternatives to policing, and I mean, just you name it, it's out there.
As she looks towards the legacy she wants to leave, the mayor highlights her Dreamkeeper initiative, an annual $60 million investment in her budget to support the Black community.
It's a response to the disparities that continue to exist when you look at the data around the homeless population. I mean, San Francisco has, a less than 6% African American population, but almost 40% of the people who are homeless are Black.
Dreamkeeper offers support for Black-owned businesses and down payment assistance for housing. It's recently led to 19 new Black homeowners in San Francisco.
People say, oh, it's not enough. It's never going to be enough. But at the end of the day, we got to start somewhere. And this investment is a start, and my hope is that it continues to change lives for the better.
She credits her grandmother for being a solid rock for her during challenging times, and offers this advice to young people in similar situations.
I would just say that never let your circumstances determine your outcome in life.
In San Francisco, Noelle Bello, KRON4 News.
As we continue to honor Black History Month, we showcase a local community leader who has been fighting systemic issues of police violence for decades. This year's Black History Month celebration comes in the wake of the tragic death of Tyree Nichols following a traffic stop by police in Memphis. Sadly, Nichols' death will be added to the long list of unarmed Black people killed by law enforcement in America. This next story features a woman with a history of standing up against police brutality here in the Bay Area. KRON4's Hazik Madyoun has her story.
Who is Cat Brooks?
That's a complicated question. I'm a mother. I'm an artist, playwright, actress, director, poet, and I'm a freedom fighter.
He will be charged, he will be convicted, and he will be sent to jail.
I was able to talk to Mom. She's like, they're going to kill him. And I was like, not today, they're not.
The BART police have yet again killed one more innocent person.
When historians look back on this era of black people in the Bay Area confronting police violence, Cat Brooks will be there, loud and clear.
Do you feel safe? No! Do you feel safe? No! I don't feel safe. This is another attempt by the defense to push out the sentencing.
For more than a decade, Cat Brooks has been and continues to be the most consistent voice against police brutality in the Bay Area. And KRON4 has got receipts. Check out this clip from 2010.
So we want to provide a safe place for people to come and scream, vent, yell, but also to show the power of the people.
How did all this get started for you, the freedom fighter part?
Really, my mother. Honestly, she was on the front line to the domestic violence movement in Las Vegas, Nevada. You know, a town founded by cowboys, Mormons, and the mob. She would take me out there and she'd get arrested. She'd bring her friend. I'd watch her cross over the line that they set, and off she'd go to jail.
She says seeing her dad, a Vietnam veteran struggling with substance abuse who found himself on the wrong side of the law, also had a profound effect on her as a child.
And I also knew that that place that he was going wasn't going to make him better.
I said, what's up, Oakland?
A job opportunity led her to Oakland in the late 2000s. It was a time when cop shootings and police misconduct were frequently in the media.
Obviously, there's differing opinions, different perceptions, so that's why it's critical for us to wait for the analysis of the criminal investigators.
It was also around that time that Brooks and a team of activists and organizers would become known as the Anti-Police Terror Project. This is notably before Black Lives Matter emerged on the scene.
We have proved time and time again since 2009, you cannot stop us from mobilizing, you cannot stop us from organizing, we will not sit down, we will not shut up, we will not forget. No justice, no peace!
But not everyone is a big fan of the group's tactics, which includes interrupting the daily lives of others.
Cat Brooks is one of the organizers. She says protesters will be demanding that Alameda County prosecutors drop charges against 14 activists who were arrested back in November after allegedly chaining themselves to BART train.
So I would just say to people who would want to disrupt our system, please think about the other people who are just trying to get where they need to go.
But as time passed, Brooks would become celebrated and recognized in the media for her relentless effort to end police brutality. She even got a shout out from Oakland Police Chief LaRon Armstrong for helping to de-escalate a potentially deadly situation.
I appreciate Cat Brooks' efforts. That was very helpful.
And this is how we abolish police. Alternative programs.
Her most notable achievements during the struggle to achieve justice for others?
9 consecutive years of being the organization that celebrates the radical legacy of Dr. King. Thousands of folks engage. The birth of Mental Health First.
An anonymous donor giving the group over $3 million, money to be used for people who need it the most, is something she says she still can't believe.
I was like, yeah, right. Ain't nobody giving us $3.5 million. The Anti-Police Terror Project, get them out of here. But it was real.
And Cat Brooks says one of APTP's proudest achievements is establishing the People's House in the same historic West Oakland neighborhood where the Black Panther Party was formed.
What does Black history mean to you?
First of all, 28 days or every once in a while 29 days is nowhere near long enough to celebrate Black history. It's almost offensive given the role that Black people...
Why don't you just be happy you got a month off?
Yeah, because I'm not that kind of Negro.
In Oakland, Hazik Medyoun, KRON4 News.
During the pandemic and months to follow, we saw gun and ammunition sales spike to heights never seen before across the United States. And we also saw a new dominant group of gun owners emerge, Black women. KRON4's Raina Harvey met with a group of local women who explained why they decided gun ownership and education were no longer an option, but a necessity.
I just figured this would be a great experience to have and to learn about guns.
Different walks of life and a multitude of reasons.
I'm a single mom, and like you said, if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. I came with my mom.
Hey, Mom.
Hey. And we just came to learn, you know, self-defense.
Unified these black women to pick up a skill many of them never imagined they would need.
I came to today's class just to increase my knowledge because proper preparation prevents poor performance, so I'm ready.
I like to stay ready, get ready. In this day and age, I think that's real important.
For many of them, it's the first time they've ever held a gun. And for others, it's a harsh reminder of what it means to take accountability for your own safety.
I came here today because I was nearly widowed probably 2 years ago. My husband had bought me a gun prior to that and never taught me how to use it. And so now I felt myself needing some protection because he's no longer my protector, and here we are.
Thank all of you guys for coming out today.
Nathan Jones is the president of the Bay Area chapter of the Black Gun Owners Association. He hosts the Queens Only event aimed at creating a safe space for black women to safely learn how to use guns here in the Bay Area, and tells me the landscape of gun ownership looks vastly different today.
There used to be quite a cliche of who was the typical gun owner. That's changing really rapidly, and the largest growing sector of new gun owners are black women, and that's nationwide.
According to the National Shooting Sports Foundation, gun sales for black Americans rose 58% in 2020, the year of rising racial tension, protests against police brutality, and an unsettling increase in local crime and mass shootings. In 2021, another NSSF report revealed there was an 87% increase in gun ownership among black women. You add all of this together, and you had many women feeling the need to play a more active role in protecting themselves.
Welcome anybody and everybody who is interested in learning and training in a welcoming environment.
How you feel? I feel amazing. Still cold, but amazing. I did good. I feel really good about it. Thank you.
Yeah. Feeling confident. Yep, I can do this.
How you feeling?
I missed the target, but I got it. It's okay. That was the first time, so I'll get it next time.
Raina Harvey reporting in Concord, KRON4 News.
20 years before the NFL's Colin Kaepernick, an NBA star protested during the national anthem. Back in the 1990s, former Denver Nuggets star Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf declined to stand for the anthem at the NBA games. He called the flag a symbol of oppression. The NBA suspended him. He later agreed to stand during the Star-Spangled Banner, but as a Muslim, he bowed his head and held his hands in prayer during the song. His actions inspired criticism, and now a new sports documentary titled Stand, which highlights the life of Mahmoud as a social justice activist. It is being streamed right now on Showtime. KRON4 sports director Jason Dumas talked to Mahmoud about the documentary and how the former NBA player moved forward after leaving basketball.
Have you had any formal talks with the NBA or any of the suits in the league office since you played in the NBA? I'd imagine an apology really is worthless at this point. It doesn't really change the facts in history, but has there been any dialogue with you and the league?
No, the league and I don't have a relationship. I have a relationship with certain players in the league because I still do, along with other things, some professional training. I don't expect them to reach out to me because I don't see where they have necessarily changed. I think they're more savvy in how they deal with things now, but I don't think that they've changed, because if they did, the logical outcome would be to reach back and involve those who was hurt by the system, in particular, such also as a Craig Hodges.
What do you want people to take the most from this documentary Stand when they watch it?
Oh, wow. Really a lot, but I think if I were to sum it up without getting along with it, I would say that, don't allow yourself to be reduced to the man of someone else's imagination, and the importance of speaking out, because silence is when you remain silent, you don't allow people to recognize your pain, and you may escape the diatribes of being labeled a troublemaker, and you may feel safe, but when you venture off into that area and you defy your conscience, and anytime you defy your conscience, no one escapes unscathed. Own who you are, know who you are, stand up for what you believe in all areas of your life, because this life is short. We all going through things, whether it's faith, whether it's mental illnesses. Never in the history before have you seen so many young people that's thinking about killing themselves, right? So the society is becoming sicker. Navigating through, poverty and all of those things. There's so much to gain from it, and we all have similar experiences that resonate. So hopefully, whatever resonates out of that, I'm just hoping that it'll be a benefit and that it'll cause people to think and have more questions. Because when you're telling a story, if you don't leave with more questions and thinking, we failed in terms of storytelling.
And one of the executive producers of the Showtime documentary, Stand, was a Black woman here in the Bay Area. Sarah Allen talked with KRON4's sports reporter, Aaron Wilson.
Let's talk a little bit about you. Obviously, you're a Bay Area native, correct? And you spent some time at Clark Atlanta. Did going to the HBCU have anything to do with your drive to tell the story of athletes more so away from the numbers and the stats of everything, but the story behind the athlete? Did Clark Atlanta have anything to do with that, or you just being a journalist, you always knew that that was your place?
So one of the reasons why I chose that field was because I didn't see very many stories that were being told by people who look like me. And so as this story came to me, I felt really strongly that Mahmoud did need people around him that would really protect his story and make sure that it was told from people that looked like him and really respected what he stood for, essentially. So I do think that probably growing up in the Bay Area had a huge influence on me.
And so being that, when we talk about all the things that have happened with the athletes throughout the years in the Bay Area, one of the biggest references that was made to Mahmoud was the fact that he was Steph Curry before he was Steph Curry, but he also paved the way for people like Colin Kaepernick, who both of those athletes are here in the Bay Area. Just if you could speak to why it was very important to show his correlation to Bay Area athletes and their stance when it comes to their skill on the floor, if you talk about Steph Curry, but also their stance when it comes to social injustice when you think about Kaepernick.
Well, in terms of Steph Curry, I think that the younger generation didn't realize that what they see Steph doing on the court is something that Mahmoud was doing 20 years earlier. And so we definitely wanted to show the correlation between the similarities in their play. And we were so fortunate to have Steph Curry be a part of that and have the Warriors support this film, also through their coach, Steve Kerr. And then on the other side of that, there have been a lot of comparisons to Kaepernick's stance. And if you see that in the movie, we do kind of show that there's similarities, but there are also apples and oranges, because Mahmoud essentially was blackballed from the NBA and he did not recover financially the way that we saw that Kaepernick was able to do in present time.
People that watch this, athletes or not, what do you want them to take away from this documentary?
Well, there's so many messages in this movie that I think young people can learn from, in terms of Mahmoud having to deal with having Tourette syndrome. I also think that there's a conversation throughout the film about the anthem being played during sporting events that even today is very timely, that I think that we should still continue to talk about. And those really are the reasons why I really wanted this story to be told, not only because of those messages, but because Mahmoud really did deserve to have this generation find out what his story was really about.
Again, you can catch the documentary Stand on Showtime right now. Coming up, he is a world-renowned ballet choreographer, but he is also a philosopher, all rolled into one. Meet the Bay Area's Alonzo King. Choreographer Alonzo King is a Bay Area treasure who is known all around the world. He's constantly called a visionary. The Kennedy Center for the Arts honored him as a master of choreography. For 40-plus years, he has led his Lines Ballet, performing, touring, and teaching. I spent some time with Alonzo King and discovered he is as much a philosopher as he is a choreographer. Alonzo King does not believe in looking at life through limitations, whether it is the dances he choreographs.
The parts that you find challenging, that's where you really want to go the most to figure it out. That means there's information in there for you.
The way he guides and teaches his students.
His whole point is to give you tools in how to work so that you can advance your evolution.
Or in a social justice forum where he explains the motivation behind his creation of Lines Ballet.
I had gone to all the big schools, American Ballet Theater, School of American Ballet, Balanchine, trained, and it was a very tight door to get in. And I felt that when I started a company, it was not going to be like that I wanted it to look like the world. Let go more, Aji. The art is inside of the artist. And so it's not this external thing that you're going for, it's something that's already inherent.
Dancer Aji Sissoko has danced 9 years with Lines.
I would describe him as somebody that isn't just worried about steps, but more about what are we saying, what is the message, what is the meaning.
King's vision of life and dance is so much larger than any stage. Yet his love of ballet and movement, which he got from his mother, is where that vision plays out.
You know, I was trained in so many different forms, but ballet was more my temperament. The classical ideal, the geometric structures was all enticing and beautiful to me.
King was raised in an activist family in Georgia. His parents and many relatives were steeped in the civil rights movement. He says as a child, learning the courage of their convictions had a lasting effect on his belief about truth and integrity.
I remember as a little kid being taken to mass meetings, and so to be ready to give up your life for something that you believe in is very intimidating to be around and inspiring.
And he says he carries that truth into his choreography.
When you look at someone who is an adult and they have a naturalness and they've been working their entire life ensconced and planted in truth to the best of their ability, they move different. They look different, they behave different. There's little artifice, and so there's bravery, there's fearlessness, because not many veils are needed. And when we see these qualities, we think and we feel, I want to be like that. When we see someone move and it's beautiful, I want to be that brave, I want to be that vulnerable. The artist is aiming for accuracy on every level. And so when you see that, it's akin to a sunrise. It's akin to a sunset. It's akin to life in its truth.
Michael Montgomery has danced with Lines for 13 years.
Working with Alonzo is a gift. You know, the way that he expresses his passion for dance is so rare to find in the world. And so to be one of his dancers, you feel like you're not only growing as an artist, but as a person. You find yourself.
Alonzo is a provocateur whose work is so spiritual and so deep that I know I, like many others, are moved to tears by its brilliance and beauty.
King was recently honored by the state of California, one of 11 people inducted into the 2022 Hall of Fame. To King, the best expression of dance is when the artist looks internally and brings honesty to the performance.
I'm going to inhabit this idea. I'm going to become selfless, not what I want to do, what I think feels good, what I think I'm good at, but what is required by the role and how can I make it luminous? That's selflessness.
The spring season for Lions Ballet begins April the 15th. Coming up, we are paying tribute to a man who is known as the mayor of San Francisco's Bayview Hunters Point community. We will tell you how he fought to help Black people get better paying city jobs. A man known throughout San Francisco as the mayor of Bayview Hunters Point passed away last month. Charlie Walker broke barriers in the 1960s by paving the way for African Americans to get better paying city jobs. His advocacy came at a time when public construction was dominated by unions, mainly made up of white men. KRON4's Ellis Ogamonian shines a spotlight on his life's work.
Charlie Walker was a man of purpose who wouldn't take no for an answer. Tired of being turned away from high-paying jobs, his tenacity is credited for paving the way for Black San Franciscans in the construction industry. A film released last year titled I Am Charlie Walker highlights the pinnacle moment in which he positioned himself to be contracted by the city to clean up an oil spill under the Golden Gate Bridge in 1971. He is said to have made $5 million in those 30 days.
White people want to know, what'd you do with the money? I took care of my family. I sent my daughters to college. I took care of my mother and my wife, and I had a nice house. That's what I did with the money. But people say money won't make you happy, but it sure made me happy.
His granddaughter, Geoffrey Morris, says his activism started years prior, and his first big win came in 1969 when Walker chained his truck to a work site that would later become part of the transit system we know today as BART. That protest against racist hiring practices led him to a work contract.
And he didn't let racism or somebody not liking him stopping him. And he didn't hold a grudge. He was about, I don't care if you don't like me because I'm Black. Don't you want to make money? He believed in economics, right? He believed economics was greater than racism.
Walker grew notoriety and lent a hand to help other African-American neighbors into the public workforce then dominated by white men, saying too often African-Americans were positioned to be employees, not employers. He was eventually given the moniker Mayor of Bayview Hunters Point.
He's the last of Bayview leaders that could actually hold feet to fire and people could not, protest that that's not true because he was there.
Walker died just a few months shy of his 90th birthday. A street named Donner Avenue, where he first planted his California roots, is said to be renamed in his honor to Charlie Walker Way, because as Morris says, it was always Walker's way or the highway. Reporting in San Francisco, I'm Ellis Ogamonian, KRON4 News.
Thank you for joining us for our Black History Month special. I'm Pam Moore. Have a great evening, everybody.